if you want to build freedom in your life and work, cold calling people, and of course, when cold calling people who are buyers is a horrible way to live. It burns you out. It's not a good way to live. It's not at all fun. It's much more fun to have conversations with somebody who might refer you in, because then to go, well, here's what I'm trying to put together. Here's the benefit. Who do you know that might be, you know, it's a different conversation than, hey, we've got this blah, blah, blah. You launch into a sales pitch, and nobody wants to hear that. I mean, do you want to get called, your phone ring, you pick it up and get pitched something? It's not what any of us want to hear, and it's not what anybody wants to do. But if you go about building a network of people who go, oh man, I know of a guy, that's a much different conversation. You can feel the different, experience in life. So it's a much, and then people start calling you, and if you stay in light, cool, creative contact with everybody, and they go, oh yeah, and that's a big key. It's a big key. And ask by the way, when you do what Chuck said to do, and you go to these people and you go, look, I need 10. Those now you've got 30, and those 30 are probably not going to be the ones either, but they've got 10. So now you've got 300 of those to get a hold of, and those people have 10. So now you've got whatever 300 times 10. You've got a lot of, you understand that where your business is going to come from isn't that 30, probably not even the 300. It's the other ones that you start branching out from. And there's loads and loads and loads, and none of those are cold. They're cold, but it's not cold trying to sell something. It's cold trying to build a relationship.
Well, and these guys will, these guys 75. I mean, he's been doing this, I would imagine, quite a while, right? I mean, he's been doing this his whole life. He may not know the decision maker, but he knows the guy that's right adjacent to the decision maker. And he's going to turn you on to him. You're going to talk to him. He's going to turn you on to the decision maker. And then what happens is you create like this network, right? And then your next deal, say you pull this deal off, right? Then your next deal comes down the pike, and it may not even be in the same industry. But when you're trying to find money, a lot of times those people that are coming up with the money aren't just in this arena. They might be in other arenas too.
Well, there's the other half of it, right? Because this is trying to get this is trying to get the drug people. But on the other side of what you do, right, Ian, it's the money part. This would be, can you imagine having a network of
money guys
and keeping I would, and then it's like a game. It's like how fast can you make these connections? Because if you just sit back and go, okay, everybody's already in place. Your network, all the stuff to make it all work is already there. You just have to make the connections. You just have to. How fast can you make connections? And that's, like Chuck and I have dealt with 14,000 entrepreneurs over time. First you do it for yourself and you go, oh, okay, it doesn't work the way everybody says it works. It works a little bit differently. And you can hear that in the way we're telling you, right? And so we found that it's so much better to build this massive referral network and just have all the business coming to you. It's just, and you can do that from wherever you want. It gives you a lot of flexibility. It gets you free. It gets you free as opposed to struggling. Anyway, a lot of people that we talk to, as we're talking to them, they're asking questions. And you go, well, how many referrers are you talking to? And they go, well, 3. And you go, man, you need to add about 2 more zeros to that. Literally, you need to have more like 3,000. How fast can you connect those dots? In a sensible sort of way. You have to have the right connections, so those referrers connect you to the right sort of people. But sometimes they don't know, but they connect you to the 10, and you get a hold of them and go, oh, Jim, so suggested I give you a jingle, and it's an easy conversation. And so from what I understand with what you're doing, Ian, from what I understand, you probably want to get your objective here is to get this up and going and then get out. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so it's going to take some work, right? By whomever's making these contacts, it's going to require work, because right now it's not being very successful, right? You want it to be better. All right. So let me ask you first, before I launch into this, is what we're talking about so far, how does it feel to you? How do you see it? Do you think it can work?
Yeah.
Why? Or not why, but you feel like it can work. Okay. So now the game is, how fast can I put those together? How fast? It's interesting. I once saw I don't know if it was a program or an article or something in the BBC, and it was about your unknown network. It's like in one of the things when Chuck and I are working together and we're going to hire somebody, one of the
Mhm.
things I'll ask them back when the Queen of England was living, I go, if you wanted to get a hold of the Queen of England, how would you do it?
Mhm.
And they go, well, I don't know, and you go out, but those people, it's like, all right, how would I? Because who on God's green earth is going to be able to get a hold of the Queen of England, and how would you? And I remember the last time I asked somebody, I go, well, yeah, I'd go to social media. I go,
Mhm.
why? And really, you think the Queen's going to be hanging out on Facebook and you're going to get connected that way? No, but if you pick up the phone and make it, I'd go, all right, how can I? It's almost like a game. Like, how could I? How could I? How fast could I do this? And
Mhm.
so I would do, it's the same thing. Doesn't matter what you put together. This network is, but they showed, these invisible connections. So if you really wanted to get to the Queen of England, you've got, how fast can you get connected to some, senator who had or somebody in
Right.
the Navy who's connected to the British Navy who connects to, it's
Mhm.
like pretty
Mhm.
soon you're having a freaking picnic out in the back lawn of
But
Buckingham Palace with the Queen.
but
That's how it
that
goes.
that takes stick-to-itiveness. That takes a little savvy. What was that thing that was going around for like, we're all like three generations of being related to Kevin Bacon or whatever that was years ago. Remember that? But that's in essence how it works. If you set
Yeah.
your goals and you go, okay, I need to talk to the Queen, King Charles. If I need to get there, then I got to start working in that direction. And it's not going to be one big step. It's going to be probably about 1,000 steps to get up that chain.
Mhm.
And what you'll find is you get up that chain, your game needs to be on a little more.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
You
The
know what I'm
queen's not
saying?
going to have lunch with you unless you got game.
Unless you got
Or the
game going
king,
on.
whomever's
Right.
wearing the crown these days.
100%. But if you're paying attention along the way and you're learning, your game will naturally elevate.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
people recognize that within you. They go, and we say this all the time, don't we, John? I always go, yep, that guy gets it.
Yeah.
You want to work with people who get it. I don't want to work with people who don't get it because it's hard. It's too
Yeah.
hard. I want to work with people who get it. And once they know you get it, people will open their wallets to give you money to start your drug manufacturing facility. And quite frankly, on your next deal, you'll
Yeah.
keep that relationship alive and you'll drip market on these money guys. And then on your next deal, they're going to know you get it. So it's going to be easier to get money from them next time because
Mhm.
they
Right.
know
And
you
now you've
get
got
it.
a story too. You've got, oh, we did this deal. And they'll think it came out of the blue, but you know that it didn't. It came from having building the network in the right sort of way,
Mhm.
having a massive, we call it a massive referral network. It's not three people, because this way too, when it's massive, you're not relying on one of those three to get business. You're relying on, you know, one of the 3,000 to
Mhm.
to have it happen. It's so much easier to get one of 3,000 than it is to get one of three or one of 30 or one of 300. It's just so much, it makes it so much easier. And that's where part of the freedom comes from, right? It's just
Right.
easier, building it. And if you build it and you have a mindset like a game, like how many of these can I connect today and
Mhm.
tomorrow? Like one of the projects Chuck and I were doing, it's like, all right, how can you make 28 to 35 new connections a day? And we did that. And in a week, you've got, make easy math, 30, you've got 30, 60, 90, 120. So you've got 120, well, you've got 150 in a week. You've
Mhm.
got 300 in 2 weeks. You've got, let's say 450 because 1 week a month is, messed up because you got the flu or whatever the case is. But at the end of the year, and let's say you only work 10 months, now you've got 4,500 contacts when most people are going to have nothing. They're going to be dead in the water.
Mhm.
You've got 4,500 contacts, and now you're talking to you're schmoozing with the ones that are, really probable, like, man, this is good. The rest of
Mhm.
them are just getting an email from you. That's it. And it's a low salesy sort of thing. That's it. That's how it goes. And
Mhm.
then business comes in, your phone rings. They go, hey, our board just met and we have a couple questions or we want to do the deal or whatever the case is. And that's it.
And
That's
that's a
it.
lot more free
That's
than
it.
pounding the phone making cold
And
calls. I'll tell you
and
that.
and yeah, oh God. And yeah, those people that pound the phone and are making cold calls, they're talking to the same number of people, It's horrible. They want to either, die or retire as soon as possible. They can't stand it. They can't wait to, end of the day to have happy hour and just drink themselves into oblivion or whatever, ODN gummies or whatever they do beat the cat at the end of the day. Whatever these people do to blow off steam.
Yeah.
But this deal, it's work, but you're building something. That's, the big difference with those people that cold call aren't really building much. They've got a couple connections and if they stop, the deal stops. But if you build a massive referral network, this thing has long legs. If you forget to, or whatever, something comes up and you don't send an email for that month, or you want to go off and on an African safari for a couple of weeks, this doesn't stop. They're still thinking about you. Where the other way of going about business, it stops. They quickly forget about you. And you didn't build the trust, you didn't build the credibility, you didn't do any of those things along the way. You just looked like a salesman.